let's be super clear about why we find ourselves in the situation that we're in today. It lands 100% at the feet of Justin Trudeau, who even just a few weeks ago gave a speech where he thought it was an affront to women that Kamala Harris didn't win. We're in a trade negotiation with a brand new administration, and we have a prime minister who keeps on poking his finger in the eye.
The political landscape of Canada has witnessed an electrifying moment as Danielle Smith took the nation by storm with a scathing critique of Justin Trudeau's leadership during a live television broadcast. Her bold remarks have ignited conversations across the country, not only highlighting the shortcomings of Trudeau's tenure, but also setting the stage for a new political narrative. This is not just about Trudeau's resignation. It's about a nation reflecting on its future
of the current administration and has damaged that relationship. So if there's a failure, it lands at his feet, which is why I'm counting down the days to when he's gone and we can have a reset. It's 47 days to go, and I hope he doesn't continue torching the relationship in the meantime. All I can do is try to repair and build relationships that should have been repaired and built over the last 4 years. That is what we do by having our office in Washington. We have good relationships with people on both sides of the aisle because that is what diplomacy is. You have to be able to work with both Democrats.
Justin Trudeau's recent resignation has left Canada at a political crossroads. His decision to step down as Prime Minister has been met with mixed reactions. While some hail his achievements, others, like Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, see this as an opportunity to lay bare the failures of his administration. Smith, known for her direct approach, wasted no time in calling out Trudeau's policies, decisions, and leadership style.
Resignation doesn't go far enough.
We need an election so that whoever is in the chair has a 4-year mandate. And so when we go to negotiate with the United States, there's some certainty.
Smith's critique was not a random outburst. It was a calculated response to what she described as years of mismanagement. For her, Trudeau's resignation is not just an end, but a moment of reckoning, a chance to reflect on a legacy she believes has done more harm than good. Her comments, delivered with conviction, have set the stage for a larger debate about Canada's political and economic future.
It would have allowed for the Prime Minister to go to the public and see whether or not they support his agenda of the last number of years.
Danielle Smith began her critique by addressing the division she believes Trudeau fostered during his tenure. She accused him of pitting provinces against one another, creating a fractured federation rather than a united Canada. Justin Trudeau governed as though Western Canada didn't matter, Smith declared, emphasizing the alienation felt by provinces like Alberta under his leadership.
Well, you may have seen this week, I introduced the Stay Out of My Backyard bill. It's the Provincial Priorities Act. My message to Ottawa is that federal politicians, and the Prime Minister in particular, should do his job and stop trying to do my job.
Smith's remarks struck a chord with many Canadians who share her frustrations. The federal policies under Trudeau, she argued, often prioritize centralization over provincial autonomy, leaving regions like Alberta to bear the brunt of decisions made in Ottawa. Her pointed words reflected a deep-seated resentment among Western Canadians who feel their voices have been consistently ignored.
There is no shortage of things that the Prime Minister can do.
A significant portion of Smith's critique focused on Trudeau's implementation of the carbon tax, a policy she described as disastrous. According to Smith, the tax symbolized a government disconnected from the realities of everyday Canadians. It punished hardworking families for heating their homes in the winter, she stated, calling it an unfair economic burden.
When you see in Alberta that we are going to take a posture more like Quebec, which is no thank you, we don't need your policy advice on school lunch programs, on pharmacare, on dental care.
The carbon tax, Smith argued, disproportionately affected resource-dependent provinces like Alberta, where the economy heavily relies on the energy sector. She accused Trudeau of imposing this policy without adequate consultation, further alienating Western provinces. For Smith, the carbon tax was not just a financial strain, but a direct attack on Alberta's way of life. Another key theme in Smith's critique was Trudeau's approach to federalism. She accused him of centralizing power in Ottawa and undermining the principles of provincial autonomy. This, she argued, was evident in areas such as healthcare, energy policy, and environmental regulations, where provinces were often sidelined.
Costs you around $35 to fill up a light-duty pickup truck just in taxes. Why? Here in Alberta, we don't pay any provincial fuel taxes. But that is not the case across Canada.
Justin Trudeau's tenure was marked by a consistent disregard for the voices of the provinces, Smith asserted. She pointed to instances where provincial governments were forced to deal with the fallout of federal decisions, describing this as an erosion of the Confederation's foundational principles. Smith's remarks highlighted a broader frustration with what many perceive as. Smith also criticized Trudeau's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, describing it as emblematic of his broader failures. She argued that his government's response lacked consistency, transparency, and adequate support for provinces. Small businesses, in particular, were left to fend for themselves, while families faced uncertainty and anxiety.
Supporters of the Freedom Convoy have rolled into different parts of the city. From Terminal Ave to downtown proper, horns can be heard, flags can be seen, many calling for the end of pandemic restrictions and vaccine mandates.
The Freedom Convoy protests became a focal point in Smith's critique. She accused Trudeau of exacerbating tensions rather than addressing the grievances of protesters. His decision to invoke the Emergencies Act, freeze bank accounts, and demonize peaceful demonstrators, she argued, was a display of authoritarianism rather than leadership. Smith's critique extended beyond policy failures to Trudeau's leadership style, which she described as performative and disconnected. He posed as a champion of progress, Smith said, but presided over a government mired in scandal and incompetence. From the SNC Lavalin affair to the We Charity scandal, Smith argued that Trudeau's tenure was characterized by broken trust and missed opportunities.
That if we position our supportive role properly, that we should be able to demonstrate to the Americans that we are essential to their aspiration.
Her remarks resonated with Canadians who feel Trudeau's leadership was more about optics than substance. Smith's assessment painted a picture of a leader more interested in photo ops and social media hashtags than in addressing the pressing issues facing the nation. Smith did not spare the Liberal Party in her critique, describing it as complicit in Trudeau's failures. She argued that the party enabled and endorsed policies that were out of step with the needs of Canadians. Justin Trudeau may be stepping down, but the Liberal Party is just as responsible for the state of our nation, she stated, urging Canadians to hold the party accountable. This broader critique of the Liberals positions Smith as a voice for change, advocating for a political shift that prioritizes unity, economic growth, and provincial autonomy.
If there's a failure, it lands at his feet, which is why I'm counting down the days to when he's gone and we can have a reset. It's 47 days to go. And I hope he doesn't continue torching the relationship in the meantime.
Smith's remarks were not just a critique of the past, but a call to action for the future. She outlined a vision for Canada that emphasizes decentralization, respect for provincial autonomy, and practical solutions to the nation's challenges. It's time for a government that listens to Canadians rather than lecturing them, she said, calling for leadership that values hard work, resilience, and ingenuity. Smith's vision resonated with many Canadians who feel the country is at a crossroads. Her critique of Trudeau's resignation was not just about holding the former Prime Minister accountable, but about charting a new course for the nation. Social media erupted with reactions to Smith's remarks, with many praising her for speaking candidly about Trudeau's legacy. Supporters hailed her as a voice for disenfranchised Canadians, while critics accused her of using Trudeau's resignation to score political points. Regardless of the differing opinions, one thing was clear: Danielle Smith had captured the nation's attention.
I think he's been a great Prime Minister. I think over the years he's done a great job. I think potentially he's maybe stayed a term too long, and Canadians are ready for a change.
Her critique sparked broader discussions about the future of Canadian politics, the role of provincial governments, and the need for accountability and leadership. As Canada grapples with the implications of Trudeau's resignation, Smith's remarks have positioned her as a leading voice in these conversations.
I think he served the country really well for the amount of time he spent here in that position. I really feel that he went through a lot of difficult times, right, with COVID and the Indigenous perspective. And I think he listened to the people, and he's listening to them now.
Danielle Smith's critique of Justin Trudeau on live TV was more than just a political takedown. It was a moment of national reflection. Her remarks highlighted the divisions, challenges, and opportunities facing Canada as it moves forward. As Canada enters this new chapter, the words of Danielle Smith will undoubtedly continue to resonate. Her bold stance serves as both a critique of the past and a vision for the future, urging Canadians to demand more from their leaders and never settle for less. If you enjoyed this breakdown, leave a like and subscribe to our channel. Watch more videos here for the latest insights.